Respect is not demanded. It is embodied.
There comes a moment in every life when you realize that disrespect is not rare. It is ordinary. It happens at work, in families, among friends, and sometimes from strangers who know nothing about you. The Stoics never asked how to eliminate disrespect from the world, because they understood something essential. You cannot control the behavior of others, but you can govern the empire within yourself. The purpose of this reflection is not to teach you how to dominate others, argue better, or demand validation. It is to teach you how to remain whole, calm, and dignified when others fail to show you respect. What follows is a single journey, moving step by step through the inner disciplines that allow a person to remain steady while the world tests them. This is not theory. This is practice forged for real life. Disrespect often feels personal, but the Stoics would tell you that most insults are not truly about you. People act from their own confusion, fears, and habits. When someone dismisses you, speaks over you, mocks you, or treats you as invisible, the first instinct is to react. Anger rises fast because it feels like a defense of your worth. But Marcus Aurelius warned that reacting without reflection is a form of slavery. The untrained mind becomes a puppet, pulled by the words and moods of others. Freedom begins when you pause long enough to decide how you will respond. The first discipline is learning to separate what is yours from what is not. Your character, your values, your effort, and your intentions belong to you. The opinions, tones, and judgments of others do not. When someone disrespects you, they are revealing their inner state, not defining yours. Epictetus taught that if you tie your peace to how others treat you, you hand them power over your emotional life. This is not strength, it is dependence. True self-respect begins when you stop outsourcing your sense of worth. This does not mean becoming passive or weak, it means becoming precise. When you no longer react automatically, you gain the ability to choose your response. Sometimes silence is the strongest answer. Sometimes calm assertion is necessary. Sometimes distance is wisdom. But these choices only become visible when anger is no longer driving the wheel. The Stoic does not suppress emotion. He observes it, names it, and decides whether it deserves action. Anger often disguises itself as justice, but most of the time it is simply wounded pride asking for attention. As you move through life, you will notice a pattern. People who disrespect others are often struggling internally. They may feel insecure, threatened, or powerless. Stoicism does not ask you to pity them in a sentimental way, but to understand human nature clearly. Understanding removes surprise, and surprise is what feeds anger. When you expect imperfection from people, you are less shaken when it appears. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that he would meet meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, and envious people, not to become bitter, but to remain prepared. Preparation is a form of self-respect. If you know disrespect will come, you can meet it with composure. This composure is not coldness. It is warmth without weakness. It allows you to stay aligned with your values, even when others abandon theirs. The Stoic path is not about winning every interaction. It is about never losing yourself. A person who can remain calm under disrespect holds a quiet power that no insult can touch. As the narrative deepens, you begin to see that handling disrespect is not a single skill, but a collection of inner habits practiced daily. One of the most important is restraint in speech. Words spoken in anger often feel satisfying in the moment and costly later. Seneca warned that anger rushes forward blindly, destroying relationships and reputations before reason can intervene. Silence, on the other hand, creates space. In that space, you can see clearly whether a response is necessary at all. Many conflicts die when they are not fed with attention. Another habit is choosing dignity over dominance. When someone disrespects you, the ego wants to retaliate, to prove superiority. But Stoicism asks a harder question. What kind of person do you want to be? If your identity depends on overpowering others, you will always be at war. Dignity means acting in accordance with your principles, even when it costs you immediate satisfaction. It means refusing to become like the person who wronged you. This refusal is not weakness, it is self-mastery. There is also the discipline of boundaries. Stoics did not believe you must tolerate endless mistreatment. They believed in rational withdrawal. If someone repeatedly disrespects you, the wise response may be to limit access. This is not punishment, it is self-protection. You are not obligated to remain in environments that erode your character. Walking away calmly, without drama or explanation, is often the most powerful message you can send. It tells the world that your time and energy are valuable. As you continue this inner work, you may notice that disrespect hurts less when your life has purpose. A mind focused on growth has little space for resentment. When you are committed to developing yourself, learning, improving, and contributing, the noise of others fades. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire while facing constant criticism and betrayal, yet he reminded himself to return always to his task. Purpose anchors the mind. Without it, every insult feels like an earthquake. With it, insults become background noise. Self-awareness is another essential element. Sometimes what we call disrespect is actually discomfort with truth. Stoicism demands honesty with oneself. If feedback contains something useful, even if delivered poorly, the wise person extracts the lesson and discards the insult. This requires humility and strength at the same time. It is easy to dismiss all criticism as disrespect. It is harder and more valuable to ask whether there is something to learn. Growth often hides inside unpleasant encounters. At the same time, Stoicism teaches you not to internalize cruelty. Not all criticism is constructive, and not all people deserve access to your inner world. You must learn discernment. Respect yourself enough to decide whose opinions matter. If you allow everyone's words to shape your self-image, you will live in constant turmoil. Choose mentors, principles, and values as your reference points, not the shifting moods of the crowd. As the journey moves forward, the emphasis shifts from reaction to character. The Stoic goal is not to avoid disrespect, but to become the kind of person it cannot destabilize. This is achieved through daily practice. Reflect each evening on how you handled challenges. Ask yourself where you acted with wisdom and where you allowed emotion to rule. This reflection is not self-punishment, it is self-training. Over time, patterns become visible, and with visibility comes choice. You may begin to notice that the more composed you become, the less disrespect you attract. This is not because people suddenly become virtuous, but because calm confidence changes the dynamics of interaction. People test boundaries unconsciously. When they see that provocation yields no chaos, they often move on. Even when they do not, you remain unshaken. This steadiness is deeply attractive and quietly intimidating. It signals that you are not easily controlled. There will still be moments when disrespect stings. Stoicism does not promise invulnerability. It promises resilience. Feeling pain does not mean you have failed, it means you are human. The difference is what you do next. Do you spiral into resentment, replaying the insult again and again? Or do you acknowledge the feeling, let it pass, and return to what matters? The Stoic chooses the latter again and again until it becomes second nature. Eventually, handling disrespect becomes less about others and more about you. It becomes a measure of your inner order. When your values are clear, your reactions become simpler. You no longer need to prove your worth because you know it is not granted by others. You no longer chase respect desperately because you carry self-respect quietly. This inner stability is the foundation of freedom. In the final movement of this reflection, the Stoic lesson comes into full focus. You cannot control whether others respect you, but you can ensure that you never abandon yourself. You can choose patience over rage, clarity over confusion, dignity over ego. You can meet disrespect not with submission or aggression, but with calm strength. This is not passive acceptance, it is active mastery of the self. When you live this way, something remarkable happens. Disrespect loses its power to define your mood or direction. It becomes just another event, like rain or wind, something to navigate rather than fight. You remain focused on your path, committed to your growth, and grounded in your principles. This is the Stoic way, not to harden the heart, but to strengthen the mind. The ultimate victory is not silencing those who disrespect you, but becoming so rooted in your values that their words cannot move you. In this state, respect from others becomes welcome but unnecessary. You are guided from within, disciplined in thought, controlled in action, and free in spirit. This is how a Stoic handles disrespect, not by conquering others but by mastering himself.